Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? That'll bring us to the public comment. Mr. Hackney, will you please read the guidelines for public comment? Ms. Martin, will you please be our timekeeper?
A period of time for public comment will be designated on the meeting agenda during which the public may comment on issues related to public education. The Dickinson County School Board believes that the citizens of the county should be heard and that this is an acceptable format for receiving public comment. After the public comment section of the meeting is closed, the public shall not be allowed to participate in general board member discussions regarding agenda items. Public participation with the board members regarding agenda items can be disruptive, and the practice is prohibited by Robert's Rules of Order. It is the desire of the school board to treat each member of the public fairly and equally. Allowing one individual to participate while excluding others is unfair. The board may hold such public hearings as may be necessary to allow the public to more fully express their concerns, or the board may place the public comment section of any meeting at the end of the meeting to allow additional public comment. Or we do not wish to restrict the free expression of opinion. We feel that certain restrictions may be necessary so that order and reasonable standards of decorum may be maintained. We ask that the following standards be adhered. The speaker will be recognized by the chair. Each speaker will be limited to 5 minutes. Speakers will refrain from the use of vulgarity or profanity and will avoid negative or embarrassing comments directed toward specific children or students. Board members should not respond to issues presented by speakers unless clarification is necessary. Matters raised under public comment will be referred to the proper official for investigation and future board consideration if necessary.
Thank you, Mr. Hackney. The board would like to recognize Mr. Steve Short with BPE. Welcome, Mr. Short.
Thank you. Chairman Hicks, members of the board, Ms. Robinson, 2 words have come to mind throughout the week for me. 2 S words. They're clean words. First word, sacrifices. Sacrifices are made by all parties involved in education, in the education of our children. Sacrifices start from the top down, so that includes you as well as our teachers and administrators. So on behalf of the Virginia professional educators, I want to express our sincere thanks, our sincere gratitude for what you, the administrators and staff, do to educate our children. Sacrifice was my first word. Second one is stress. I don't recall ever having a job that I wasn't stressed in. And it took, I'm a little slow sometimes, so it took me a few years to realize that stress was internal. It was caused by me. And part of it was because of my expectations of myself. Now, having said that, when I think of stress, I think of the time of year it is. I think of SOLs, and I think of teachers and students. All of those, you folks being stressed with the decisions that you have to make, and the teachers being stressed to try to make sure that they've got their students ready for that SOL test, whatever it is, and the students being stressed because they feel like, hey, I've got to pass this test. This is the test I have to pass. So having said all of that, I want you to know that my wife and I pray for you folks, the teachers, the administrators, and the students, for peace and calm and stress relief during this time of year. Because everybody involved puts out a lot of extra time throughout the year. I remember as a coach, we know coaches put in a whole lot more time than, and when I say coaches, I also mean co-curricular, extracurricular folks. So not just an athletics coach. and teachers themselves as they take homework. So I just wanted to let you know our appreciation and that prayers are going up for you. And I'm sure it's not my wife and I are the only ones that pray for you as well. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Short.
Mr. Short.
I'd like to recognize Mr. Sean Tiller with DEA. Is he here? No. Okay. Anyone else for public comment? Okay. Our next agenda item is the consent agenda, which involves the approval of minutes, approval of monthly invoices, revenue and expenditure summary, discussion of school activity funds, field trips, approval of new elementary school construction invoices, the approval of construction bank reconciliation document, and the Dixon County Public Schools Health Statement account. Are there any questions or discussion on the consent agenda? Hearing no questions, do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion carries.
Mr. Hicks, excuse me, we have a gentleman in the audience who has approached Mr. Deal and would like to speak during public comment. This is his first meeting here, and with your approval, sir,
Yeah, sure.
to ask him to come up.
Sure, if we'd known, I wouldn't have skipped that. Sorry.
Sir, if you'll state your name for the board. Thank you.
Yeah, my name's Scott Sexton. Good evening. Thank y'all for letting me have a few minutes to speak with you. I'm not really good at speaking in front of crowds, so of course right now I'm tremendously nervous. But the reason that I come to you today is because I spoke with a young man down at Pizza Plus the other day, and he was telling me that Ridgeview High School doesn't have a wrestling program. Doesn't offer anything as far as he knew. And I come from Buchanan County. I graduated from Grundy, Virginia. I went through their program. It starts at kindergarten to build a legacy like they've built. It takes hard work, dedication, but it also takes skill. I know what it takes, and I'm coming today to ask you all. I'm not sure if what the process is or what, but I'm willing to help build a program if it is wanted in the area. I know what it takes, and it's a very inclusive sport. One person can stand out from the whole team, but it also teaches team camaraderie. I know it offers advantages as far as scholarships and advantages to people that might not be able to play football or tennis or soccer. And it's a humbling sport. It teaches kids trials and tribulations. It makes them set goals. It gives them stuff to work for and toward. It teaches them how to win, and it teaches them how to lose and be humble. And that's what I come here today to ask you all, is if you all would take into consideration a wrestling program for Ridgeview High School. Thank you.
Mr. Hicks, if I may, I'd like to ask Mr. Deal to get Mr. Sexton's telephone number and perhaps let the high school get in contact with him.
Thank you, Mr. Sexton.
Thank you.
For a guy that's not good at it, that was a pretty good job.
Yeah.
All right, Ms. Baker, remind me, we did approve the consent agenda? No, we did, okay. All right, so our next agenda item is information for the school board. Mrs. Robinson.
Thank you, sir. Good evening, board members. Mr. Hicks, just a couple of things on information from the board. Of course, it's the Tuesday, April 30th, VSBA Southwest Region Spring Network Forum. If you're interested in attending, we can still register. The dinner will be at 5:30. And registration opens up at 5 p.m. It is at the Southwest Virginia Higher Center in Abingdon. Our second information for the board regarding a conference is the School Law Conference. That is scheduled on Friday, May the 31st. It was for school board members, policy makers, an excellent, I think some of you have attended that before, so if you'd like to attend, please let Tanya Baker know, and she'll be glad to do all of the accommodations for you. Thank you.
Thank you. That brings us to good news from our school, Mrs. Robinson.
Oh, thank you so much. This evening, we are very blessed to have some of our students to recognize, and that's always such a good part of our meeting. I'd like to ask Ms. Knapp if she will come to the front with Briana. Ms. Knapp is our drama, forensics, a little bit of everything at Ridgeview High School. She puts on excellent plays with students. It's just amazing. And she has a very special student that we would like to recognize to the board.
Tonight I brought for you Briana Turner, who last month placed third at the VHSL state forensics meet. So in order to make it to the state forensics meet, she had to place first, second, third at our district meet, and then she had to compete in regional competition with our first, second, third, and the other half of the region's first, second, and third. She placed third again in region and went to state, so that is everyone's first, second, and third, and she won third again. And that might sound like she's just terribly consistent, but what I want you to understand is that she beat the first place from all the other districts, all the regions in the state. So it's far more than just her being consistent. I also would like to tell you that this is an extracurricular thing. Briana plays soccer. She is also in my theater program, so she learns lines, and this is something she did on her own time. She would come to me in my free time and do her piece for me, and we would work on it together, but there was an awful lot of extracurricular time that she put into this. And just so you understand, forensics is a speech competition. So Briana found, she and I together, a piece of poetry that was already written by someone else, and she just delivers it for a speech competition. And certainly the forensics competitions have many categories, but hers is poetry, and I thought this piece was encouraging and very pertinent to life today, and I thought you would benefit from hearing it. Thank you, Briana, for being here, and congratulations.
A popular song asks the question, when pretty isn't pretty enough, what should you do? In the following poem, Pretty, by Katie McCaw, she reveals her mother's answers as well as her own. When I was just a little girl, I asked my mother, what will I be? Will I be pretty? Will I be pretty? Will I be pretty? What comes next? Oh, right. Will I be rich? Which is almost pretty, depending on where you shop. And the pretty question infects from conception, passing blood and breath into cells. The word hangs from our mother's hearts in a shrill, fluorescent floodlight of worry. Will I be wanted? Worthy? Pretty? But puberty left me this funhouse mirror drive. Teeth set at science fiction angles, crooked nose, face donkey long, and pox marked where the hormones went finger painting. My poor mother. How could this happen? You'll have porcelain skin as soon as you can see a dermatologist. You sucked your thumb. That's why your teeth look like that. You were hit in the face with a Frisbee when you were 6. Otherwise, your nose would have been just fine. Don't worry, we'll get it all fixed, she would say, twisting my face this way and that, as if it were a cabbage she might buy. But this is not about her, not her fault. She too was raised to believe the greatest asset she could bestow upon her awkward little girl was a marketable facade. By 16, I was pickled with ointments, medications, peroxides, teeth corralled into steel prongs, laying in a hospital bed, face packed with gauze, cushioning the brand new nose the surgeon had carved. Belly gorged on 2 pints of my own blood I'd swallowed under anesthesia, and every convulsive twist of my gut like my body screaming at me from the inside out, "What did you let them do to you?" All the while, this never-ending chorus droning on and on, like the IV needle dripping liquid beauty into my blood. Will I be pretty? Will I be pretty? Like my mother unwrapping the gift wrap to reveal the bouquet of daughter her $10,000 bought her. Pretty? Pretty. And now I have not seen my own face in 10 years. I have not seen my own face in 10 years, but this is not about me. This is about the self-mutilating circus we have painted ourselves clowns in. About the women who will prowl 30 stores and 6 malls just to find the right cocktail dress, but haven't a clue where to find fulfillment or how to wear joy. Wandering through life shackled to a shopping bag beneath those 2 pretty syllables. This is about my own someday daughter, when she comes to me already, stone-stayed with insecurity, begging, "Mom, will I be pretty? Will I be pretty?" I will wipe that question from her mouth like cheap lipstick and answer no. The word pretty is unworthy of everything you will be, and no child of mine will be contained in just 5 letters. You will be pretty intelligent, pretty creative, pretty amazing. But you will never be nearly pretty.
Would Brianna's mom and dad, would they please stand and be recognized and her family? Oh, thank you, Mrs.
Yeah.
Zimmerman. What she just did, so thank you so much for raising such a pretty, amazing daughter. Okay? Thank you, Dad. We can see why that won 3rd
Oh,
place.
yeah. Yes, for sure. Congratulations, Brianna. Good job.
Our next group of students that we'd like to recognize is our band instructor, Mr. McCullough, and he has some students that are on pretty exciting news. One of them is going to Macy's. Is that correct? Okay, come on up.
Where's their instruments? Last time you played for us.
Is it on? Okay.
Thank you for being here.
Good evening, Ms. Robinson and members of the board. As always, when I come here, I love bringing exciting news to Dickinson County Schools. A couple of things here tonight. We'll get to Ethan here in a second. Last year, we had a group of students go to Solo Ensemble Festival at Holston High School, and they all got superior ratings. Same students went back this year. Last Thursday, we had these three in the saxophone quartet, Ethan Deal, Connor Garrett, Garrett Moore, and Isabel Shatley. She could not be here tonight. And again, they all got superior ratings, and very proud about that. And then Braden Healy also got a superior in solo competition. And when you go to solo and ensemble, you go into a room, play for a judge. You see the judge, they talk with you, and you play, and then they critique and go from there. And proud of them for that. About Ethan specifically, this year, and he talked about it last year, I believe, but back in February, he auditioned, sent in a playing audition and a marching audition to the Macy's Great American Marching Band Committee. It's not a director's recommendation, it's an application and audition. Was it right after Easter? Yes, okay. A week after Easter, about a couple of weeks ago, he received an email from Macy's telling them that he has been accepted. So in November, he and myself and his family will be traveling to New York as he marches in the 2024 Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. To my knowledge, he is the very first Dickinson County student to march in that parade. And so this is another level and honor for Dickinson County Schools and Dickinson County itself. And again, it's a testament to these students. I'm the facilitator. Yes, I'm the instructor, but the facilitator, it's these students that put in the hard work. It's like I tell my younger kids, I can take you to water, but I can't make you drink. And I can give them the tools for success, but they have to do it, and they do. And they amaze me, and it's just an honor to work here, and it's an honor to have these students and to work in Dickinson County. So members of the board, Ms. Robinson, thank you very much. Thank you.
Gentlemen, would you like to shake the board members' hands? I'm sure they would like to be a part of that. I hope you wear a Ridgeview blue or something so we can distinguish you in the Macy's parade.
Thank you all.
Congratulations.
Brianna, you got away from us before we can shake your hand. Yeah. Can we get you come back?
Brianna, we're sorry. Yeah. Would you like to have her come up?
I don't blame you, I wouldn't come back either. But we'd be glad to shake your hand.
She's coming.
She's coming, all right. We can go meet her.
We were pretty amazed. Come on. You're fine. You're good. You're good. Just go ahead. They just want that honor.
Yeah, congratulations. That was awesome. Better than a job, proud of you.
You're very courageous, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hicks. Keep on doing that, okay? Whew.
I think back on the agenda, sir. I'd like to ask
Miss Martin, she always follows.
Yeah, we'll follow her in just a moment. Mr. Deal is here, and Dennis Deal, if you'd like to come to the front. Mr. Deal excuse me? Yes, the gifted. Last month, Mr. Deal brought the gifted plan to the board, and this time he's bringing it to the board for a motion to be accepted as, approved as presented. So, Mr. Deal, I'll refer to you, sir.
Last month, I brought to you, as she said, the gifted plan. And along with that, I shared with you that Dickinson County's plan actually went through a technical review, and they found only two things that they felt like we could work on a little bit. One of the items was just to clarifying how we're testing our kids. And just in case you don't know, we're using the old set 8. Everything's online, so they go in there and sit behind the computer to do testing and get their scores back pretty quick. And the other part was Dickinson County, I guess, I figured out a way to word it. We have some after-school things going on for those kids that, we're trying to get in place. And one of the things in our plan, it was kind of vague about actually what we were doing with them. So we tried to update that and make it a little clearer as people read that. So as we move forward, hopefully I can add to that. You know, after COVID, that kind of threw everything into a tailspin, and we don't have a lot of things going on for the elementary. So just so you know, presently we have 15 students at the elementary school in the gifted program. 9 of them are at Cleveland Elementary School. 6 of them are at Ridgeview Elementary School. And we're working on that program, trying to build it up. So tonight, if we could, if you don't have any questions, of course, we'll go ahead and, if you could, approve the gifted plan for this upcoming year. And I'm sure as we move along, we'll have to make updates to it and make changes, because sometimes we see things that don't quite sound right, and we work on it some.
Does anybody have questions for Mr. Deal? Okay. I hear a motion to approve the gifted plan as presented.
So moved. Second.
Any further discussion? All right. Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right. Thank you, Mr. Deal.
Hey, if I could, if you got just a second, let me share with you, Dr. Compton and Miss Presley and Miss Davis and Rochelle Barton, they took their gifted students along with their junior major club to the barter. They got to watch Charlotte's Web. They did that today. And they took some photos, and they shared it with me and Miss Robinson. And while they were there, they took the kids out to Cracker Barrel to eat. And they said that while they were sitting there and eating their lunch, several folks in the Cracker Barrel came up to them and said, "Where are you guys from? You have such well-behaved students." And then there were some folks there from Washington County Central Office also approached them saying, "You got such well-behaved students." I mean, they're kids, we may not get out a whole lot, they may not get to see a whole lot of things, but I feel like that's just another testament to our students and how good they try, and their parents, because they're raised right. But that's all I wanted to share with you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Deal. That is good news. And at this time, I'd like to ask Ms. Martin, please, to come to the front.
Thank you. Good evening, board members. Tonight I share with you March's attendance and enrollment. In your packet, you have the attendance percentages listed for each school. There's the comparison that's over the last 4 months, 4 years, the grid. There's the entry and withdrawals. There's, excuse me, there's the absence intervention team's notes, and then there's the monthly picture that I do for you from in the things that the schools do. This month, looks like Elmo showed up. Communities in Schools, I believe they've received a grant to buy those costumes, and the children just absolutely love it when the different characters show up. For our enrollment for the month of March, we did have a decrease of 2 students. Our enrollment shows that for K through 12, we had 1,779 students. We had 19 students in our 3-year-old program, and for our pre-K and postgraduates, we had 74 students. That's a total of 1,869 students. For our attendance percentage for the month, Clintwood Elementary School had the highest at 91.14 for the month, and Ridgeview Middle School was second at 88.55. Our chronic absenteeism, if you follow down on your sheet, we continually monitor that. As you can see in your handout, if school ended at the end of March, those numbers don't reflect real well. However, we continue to monitor that. If we ended the day at 180, as well, with the day that we had to miss because of the flood, we'll end at 179, but still doing the math, if we end, those are a little bit more promising. I will note for you, and as I noted it there on the paper as well, that those do not include the deductions that we can take out of that, which would be any student that is homebound for the year. Those students are deducted from our chronic. Any student that is not in our system over 50% of the time, so they would have to be in our for at least 91 days. Those students are not taken out. and then any student that is home-based or home education is also taken out. Those have not been deducted. And then, of course, the student with our new incentive that we have, if they're staying for the after-school tutoring, we have not deducted any of those as well. I've not deducted any of those all year, so to be consistent with that, we won't deduct those until right at the end before the final report is sent in. Are there any questions that I can share with you? The absence intervention teams they continue, they meet monthly. They are continually looking at new incentives. Our billboards are up for, these will stay up through June. So we're looking at what we'll do for the next one. The groups are looking at their next big incentive and looking at starting to plan end of the year activities to do for the kids. So right now those plans are inconclusive, but hopefully next month I'll be able to share with you more what the schools are planning to do. Any questions on attendance or enrollment?
It was.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hearing none, I thank you.
And finally, for good news from our schools, I'd like to just take a moment to introduce Lacey Edwards. Lacey, if you and Ms. Taylor will please stand. Lacey is our new Director of Business and Finance. Lacey has been with us so far 2 weeks and almost 2 weeks, is that correct? And she's still with us. So, we are very excited. We are delighted to have Lacey with us and work with Laura, and she's going to be a part of us, and we're going to miss Laura when she leaves, but we have someone that will come in and take over and be right with us. So, Lacey, welcome, and thank you for being here tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. You're welcome, Lacey. At the end of our good news.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you. We can just keep going.
All right. Our next agenda item is the update on the Ridgeview Elementary School, and unfortunately, Mr. Burge could not be with us today, so that falls to you, Ms. Robin.
It does, and I apologize for all these items. I'm going to ask Mr. Mullins. He has received the resolution. Yes, please. Thank you, Ryan. The resolution from the board. There is more good news, and I'll let Mr. Mullins share that with you.
Well, I'll start out by saying that Mr. Burge had a death in the family, and he made it clear that he really hated he couldn't be here. Also, Tim we talked about getting you to visit, to go over and walk through, and we hope that we can do that next month, because no matter how many photographs we show you, I think it's always better when you walk through and actually see what's going on. And what Tim had communicated basically is that the exterior of the building, the brick, and the cleaning on the brick has been completed, and that on the interior, a lot of the work on the electrical and plumbing has been brought substantially along, and they've actually started installing the drywall, and generally speaking, that is something that happens after they've gotten the plumbing in. And I think these pictures are there for you. I think you can go to the next slide. You can see the brick is up on that slide, and that first line, the brick installation, has been completed. And then I guess jump to the last note there, you can see the drywall has begun. So again, the drywall is usually done after the important electrical and conduit have been done. Next slide. And the furniture has been ordered. I think there's procurement going on with the phones and all those issues that are just inherent in having the addition. I think probably the most important thing to you as a policy-making board is that we remain on schedule and within the budget of the things that you've approved us doing before. I will not be able to do as good a job as Tim for sure on the next slide. That shows the exterior where you can see that the brick has been done. As you probably know, there's always cleanup to do with the mortar, but we think it looks really good from the outside with the brick. There's another shot of the brick. Next slide. That's quite a bit of work to have gotten done with this spring. I guess we've been blessed not to have as wet a spring as we've had in past years, but very good work on the brickwork. Next slide. You can see the ductwork. Next slide. Second floor, drywall's starting to be installed. Next slide. Same thing, plumbing. Next slide. Conduit being installed at second floor. Next slide.
That's it. That's it.
That may be it, okay.
Yes, sir.
And I think when I talked to Tim, the one thing he wanted me to communicate is, to the extent you can be here a little early at the next meeting, perhaps don't wear your best shoes, but it should be a pretty good environment. Walk through and look things over, and when he explains what's been going on at the next meeting, hopefully you'll have a first-hand view of it. And Ms. Robinson, did you want me to deal with the resolution?
Yes, sir, please, if you don't mind.
Some really good news, encouraging news. I think, most obviously we've gotten $400,000 from the Board of Supervisors as an advance on the $600,000 that we previously discussed with them for the parking lot and for the canopies. This is something that I think each of you, in varying degrees, working with your counterparts on the Board of Supervisors, have made happen. And I just say kudos to you and kudos to the Board of Supervisors, because getting this done now, while we have construction going on, it's going to make a much better environment for the elementary school. And on a scale of 1 to 10, I think this is just a solid 10. Good news of things that we got done. And again, Tim will do a better job next time when he's here. So I would try to answer. I would try to answer questions, but I'm not sure I could. So if you have them, I'll try.
Do they need to vote on the resolution?
Yes, we do, and you've seen the resolution, but what we need is a motion and a second authorizing our chair to sign the resolution dealing with the $400,000 for the parking lot and canopies.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Okay. Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you, Mr. Mullins. Okay. Our next agenda item is the update on the 24-25 DCPS budget. Mrs. Taylor.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. I'm going to give you a very brief update on the status of the budget. You'll see that I have some notes written on the back of my agenda, and so that tells you it's a very brief update. On Tuesday, April the 9th, Superintendent Robinson, myself, Chairman Hicks, and Vice Chairman Hackney met, had a very productive and pleasant meeting with the Dickinson County Board of Supervisors, where we presented to them the budget that we adopted on March the 27th, as well as our local appropriation request. The following week, Wednesday, April 17th, the General Assembly convened for the purpose of amending, I think it was approximately 200 bills, and to discuss the budget. At that time, Governor Youngkin and the General Assembly agreed that they were going to discard that spending plan for fiscal years, the biennium of 25 and 26, and start working on a new budget from scratch. So between April the 17th and May 13th, they will be working on creating that new budget for the state of Virginia. They will have have a special session reconvening on May the 13th, and they have a vote that is scheduled on May the 15th for the budget. Long story short, we are in a holding pattern until we receive a state budget. We are very hopeful that we will get that in May if everything goes well. In the meantime, as Superintendent Robinson mentioned, Lacey Edwards and I are now working together in preparation of transitioning Director of Business and Finance duties. We're going to be running various possible scenarios so we can hopefully get a jump start and get you closer to some amendments that may need to be made to the budget when we get that information. But we will keep you posted, and I'll be glad to answer any questions if you have any.
Be pretty unfair to ask you any questions about the budget, wouldn't it?
I left my magic 8 ball in the office.
Exactly.
It appears that the 3% salary increase for state employees is still a vital part of that, the new considered budget, so we hope that that will continue.
Okay. Any other questions for Ms. Taylor? No? Okay. Thank you, Ms. Taylor. All right, next is the approval of the DCPS 24-25 Special Education Budget and Plan. Ms. Edwards.
Chairman Hicks and board members, it's that time of year again to present to you our budgets and our plans. These have all been shared with our local advisory committee members and approved by them. I did send you copies in your email. One I failed to attach, which I did send it later. Didn't realize that, but I did send it later. But for our special education plan, I'll just take a few minutes and get the dollar amounts in the minutes for you. We do have in our 611, which is our special education budget grant, partial salaries for 10 special ed teachers, approximately $197,205.62. Partial salaries for 2 speech pathologists and staff to support the speech program, $67,622.41. Partial salary for an IEP transition coordinator, school psychologists, part-time special education teachers, and paraprofessionals as needed, $96,842.47. Partial benefits for 10 special ed teachers, IEP coordinator, $52,281.74, and $17,606.88 will be set aside to serve parentally placed homeschool children. And then we also have some funds set aside for contracted services and so forth. So we have approximately $116,038.88 for purchase services. That goes in code 3000. Those services may include psychological, speech, translation, behavioral, autism, extended school year equipment repairs, contracted transportation, substitute staff development, OT, PT, and other contracted services as needed. We also have some money set aside to purchase equipment as needed, anything costing less than $5,000. So if you would mind to look at your budget page on page 14 of your plan. The total amount for this budget was prepared based on last year's amount. We do not get our final allocation until later in the school year. So we have $568,598 total budget for our special education 611 funds. If there are any questions for that piece, I'm happy to answer those. Okay. If not, I'll take you on to our 619, which is our preschool funds, and that starts on page 16 and 17. For our preschool 619 funds, we will fund an IEP transition coordinator, early special ed teachers, paraprofessional transitional supports, therapy, behavioral sports, and inclusive services for approximately $20,870. Instructional supplies, including furniture, assistive technology, and personal care items, $6,392. Purchase services for psychological behavior, speech, OT, and other contracted services, $4,547 for a total of $31,809, and that's our 619 preschool funds. If there are any questions on that, I'm happy to answer. I'm happy to answer anything about the plan itself, if you have anything.
Board members, any questions for Ms. Edwards? Okay. If not, do I hear a motion to approve the special education budget and plan as presented?
So move.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All right. Any further discussion? Okay. Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, all right, Ms. Edwards, I believe you are also next with the career and technical and the Perkins plan.
Yes, correct. I did have my advisory committee meeting again today, presented this plan. It was approved by my advisory committee, and I'd like to present that plan to you. And again, I'll talk about the budget information. So if you would turn with me to page 60 of your plan.
They may not have that, Ms. Edwards, with them.
With okay,
But we can
then I'll
certainly
just go over it.
resend it again in the morning.
Okay. Professional development activities, focusing on instructional supports for summer conferences, state conferences, workshops, course tuition, et cetera. That's for our teachers. We do have $2,500 set aside. Academic supports for our students in special populations. That includes any purchases of equipment or tools that's necessary. We have $1,500 set aside. We also provide certifications for our students. That's including industry certifications and assessments. We have $4,000 set aside. We do get some state money for industry certification, but we always run out of that, and we end up using our Perkins for the remainder. And then we have money set aside to assist our students who are identified in special populations with travel expenses to CTSO activities and other conferences. That's $2,000. And then the meat of our budget is for equipment, and that's to improve, expand, or modernize our technology, education program, and related equipment. $30,448.43. The meat of our Perkins plan is used for equipment, as you can see by the plan. And then we also have some money set aside for Code 3000, which is purchase services for virtual learning supports. With COVID and other things, we have found a need for virtual learning supports, and so we have $14,000 set aside for that. And that is a total of $57,198.43. And that is our Perkins plan. And I will ask questions if you have questions on the Perkins plan. I'm happy to answer. If there's any part of it that you would like for me to go over publicly, I'm happy to do that. Otherwise, I will ask if I could get approval on the budget.
Anybody have questions for Ms. Edwards? All right, hearing none, do I have a motion to approve the DCPS 24-25 Career Technical and Carl Perkins Budget Plan as presented?
So moved. Yeah. Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Are there any further discussions? Okay. Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, Ms. Edwards.
Thank you.
I'd like to commend you and your staff for that get-together here at Ridgeview. That was very impressive, and to see all the faculty and teachers and their projects there and what have you, I hope we continue that on a yearly basis. Very nice. It was excellent.
Okay. Next item is approval of the proposed VSBA policies. Mrs. Martin.
Good evening once again, board members. Earlier last week, we sent you 23 policy updates. The majority of these policies were simple legal references, cross-references, typographical errors. A couple of them were revised for clarity. There was one of the updates that was not really a policy update. It was just an exhibit or a form that was added to a current policy that we updated last year. There were two policies that we are deleting. I attached those to you just so for your reference so that you would know what policies those were. That was policy EDC and IKB. And at this time, I ask if you had any questions about those policies that we sent you.
Any questions for Ms. Martin? Okay.
Hearing none, then I ask for a motion for the policies sent as presented.
Do I hear a motion for approval of the proposed VSBA policies?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any questions or further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you, Ms. Martin.
Thank you.
Next agenda item is the update on the transition from Clintwood Elementary School to the Ridgeview campus for the 24-25 school year. Mrs. Robinson.
Thank you, sir. This is a list that we've shared with you for several months. We are just updating the enrollment for next year, and this is based on current pre-K and kindergarten registrations. And we have updated those numbers for Ridgeview Elementary School, Ridgeview Middle School, and Ridgeview High School based on registrations and current enrollment. I would just like to say on behalf of Mark Mullins and Deidre Deal and Dennis Deal that if we have anyone in our community that has a pre-K child or a kindergarten child and they would like to register their child for school next year, we ask that they call the Dixon County School Board office at 926-4643 and speak to either Dennis Deal or Deidre Deal, and we will certainly help you in the process of registering your child either for pre-K or kindergarten. That registration will take place right until the day of school begins, but we just would like to encourage our community members to do that. Again, our numbers are a little bit lower in pre-K and in kindergarten, but we hope that getting the word out, and I know that both Mr. Deal and Deidre Deal and Mark Mullins have used about every means to get the word out in our community. But anything that our board members can help us with, or our community members, or anyone that's watching this, just to please encourage registration, we would certainly appreciate it. That is all that I have, Mr. Hicks, unless the board has a specific question about the transition or anything that way.
Any questions, gentlemen? All right. Thank you, Ms. Robinson.
Thank you, sir.
So at this time, we'll have board comments. Mr. Mullins, you want to start?
Well, I tell you, I was real impressed with Briana Turner. Did a wonderful job. So I think we'll hear from that girl more. And the band successes, we've got a Dickinson County kid who's going to be going to Macy Day's Parade. That's a big thing.
Yeah, certainly is.
And I tell you, this group that went and got her $400,000 from the Board of Supervisors, we need to pat them on the back and thank the Board of Supervisors. That's a big help to us. So
it certainly is.
But things are looking good.
Well, I just want to piggyback real quick what Mr. Eisnick said about the CTE showcase, and thoroughly enjoyed that, and I thought our Miss Edwards and Miss Rose did a good job putting all that together. I thought our teachers did a great job as usual, and I was extremely impressed with our students and how talkative some of them were that night. I was surprised. That would have been me when I was 16, 17. I probably wouldn't have said a word, but they were outgoing, they were professional, and I thoroughly enjoyed that. I hope we can continue that. And also to talk about the gifted and talented going to the barter and then out to eat afterwards and getting bragged on by the public. I know when I coached, the last thing I'd tell the teams before they got off the bus, if we were going in to eat or do something, I'd always say, act like somebody. And I think our kids from pre-K all the way up to seniors, do an excellent job of representing us when they go out in the public, and I've heard multiple times people brag on them, and I think today's another example of how they've been taught to act and how good our kids are. So I thought that was good to hear.
Well, Mr. Razor?
Well, I certainly enjoyed it. I enjoyed seeing the children, their parents, and those students were very anxious for all of us to see their work and what they do, and it was certainly impressive in every way. I'd like to, again, congratulate all those students who were honored here, and just think that Ridgeview, in the past year at least, I guess we've seen as many awards and in competitions, et cetera, that our students had a chance to excel in, and they did excel in a wonderful way, and that's something we can all be proud of. And they and their parents are to be commended, and their teachers and all who support them. I also hope that May is upon us, and when will the SOLs be over, Ms. Robinson? When will they be finished?
Mr. Mullins, when will the SOLs be over?
Probably the last day of school.
I think he said the last day of school, sir.
I thought that might be the case, but I was...
It'll be over around May 14th, somewhere in that area.
Yeah.
But we generally have a few that we get in a little bit later.
Well, I just hope the good news keeps coming, and I'm sure it will. I know these folks have worked hard, and the students and teachers and the parents are all anxious about this, as all of us are. But I just have a good feeling about this, that the good work that's been done and the examples that have been shown of, the product that our teachers have helped formulate to be a success. And let's just hope that continues.
Well, I hate that I didn't get to come to the CTE showcase. I was happy that was able to send one of my staff members from the college, and she reported back that it was very impressive, and I had no doubt that it would be. I also want to commend Briana Turner for her performance in forensics, and the poem she read tonight. I think that just the content of it was just fantastic as well, and it was just give you really something to think about. Also, congratulations to the band students. I echo Mr. Mullins' comments about, I think it's just something unique for somebody from Dixon County. I watch the Macy's parade every year, so it's cool that we'll have a extra reason to watch it this year. And I want to welcome Lacey, to look forward to working with you. I know it'll be a good relationship, and I know you'll do great. And Mr. Dennis's comments on the barter group and their behavior, I don't know what that feels like when I take my group out. So, it's more the other way around. Everybody in the restaurant is probably stressed out by the time we leave. So, I commend the group for behaving as well as they did.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Hackney. You guys took all the good stuff. You left nothing. So I'm just going to repeat what you say. But yeah, congratulations to Briana and the forensics group, and our band students and all their accomplishments. I was really impressed with CTE. I don't know anybody who was there that didn't say, had something great to say about the kids and the programs, and it was very, very impressive how professional, as Dave pointed out, that the kids were very impressive. I was very surprised at how they would just come and talk to you, and was really eager to try to, it was almost like they were competing. Hey, I'm going to get this guy, come over here to my booth. And so that was really, really good. And, what we're really seeing is all this is just dividends that's being paid back to us from the investment in education and investment in our kids that all of our teachers and staff and administrators have put into them. And so we're really starting to see that. And, there's nothing better than when to be out and have folks brag on your kids just in the way that they act. And so, like I said, they act like somebody because they are somebody, that's for sure. And we got some great kids. And so, I want to wish everybody the best on their soil test and their soil results. That's more dividends there that they'll reap. And then finally, I would just really like to thank the Board of Supervisors for their partnership here with the parking lot and the canopies. I think it's going to make our campus safer, our students safer, and just a great partnership to be in with them. All right. All right, so at this time, we'll go into closed session. So closed session pursuant to Section 2.2-3711, Paragraph A of the Code of Virginia, there will be a closed session for the purpose of employment issues relating to discussion or consideration of specific individuals for employment as custodians, cafeteria clerk, manager, speech language pathologist, chorus, music teacher, elementary education teachers, coaches, FMLA, resignations and retirements pursuant to Virginia Code Section 2.2-3711A, and to consult with legal counsel regarding the investment of public funds associated with school construction and consultation regarding actual or probable litigation, along with consultation regarding specific matters requiring legal advice pursuant to Virginia Code Section 2.2-711A, 6, 7, and 8 of the Code of Virginia. Do I hear a motion to go into closed session?
So moved.
Is there a second? Yeah, got a second? Okay. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, do I hear a motion to come out of closed session?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right. Ms. Robinson, will you please read the certification?
Yes, sir. Whereas the Dickinson County School Board has convened a closed meeting on this date pursuant to an affirmative recorded vote in accordance with the provisions of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act, and whereas 2.2-3712D of the Code of Virginia requires a certification by this school board that such closed meeting was conducted in conformity with Virginia law, now therefore be it resolved that the Dickinson County School Board hereby certifies that to the best of each member's knowledge, 1, only the public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements by Virginia law were discussed, and 2, only such public business matters as were identified in the motion by which the closed meeting was convened were heard, discussed, or considered. Would you please certify?
I certify.
I certify.
I certify.
I certify.
I certify.
Okay. Are there any motions to come from closed session?
Mr. Chairman, I move that the board approve employment recommendations as presented in closed session.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Is there any other business to discuss?
Mr. Hicks and board members, next week our students, our staff, and our parents and families begin with SOL testing, so I just ask that you would just remember all of them for the next couple of weeks. It's very stressful for children and parents and everyone involved, so just please thank you for keeping them in your thoughts.
Yeah, very good. We wish them the best. Okay. Any other business? Okay, hearing none, do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.